everyone, good morning and welcome to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. From Now On is the new album from Tony Award-nominated star Ramin Karimloo. It's a 12-song collection where Karimloo chronicles his lifelong love of music and musical theater. Put your hands together for Ramin Karimloo.
Thank you, thank you.
How you doing today?
I'm very good, just flew in last night. It's good to be back in New York City.
Where were you?
Well, it started off in Cancun. That's why I'm
I was going to say,
nicely
you look
glowing.
like very summery. You've got your hot boy summer going on, I can tell.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. When I go back to England, I have 2 scenes from the previous episode to still shoot.
Oh, no.
I did not look like this in those scenes, so I'm like, I tried. I had factor 50 on, but when we get back
I feel
to
like a lot of people in London don't have tans. So.
No, and on this show,
Yeah.
makeup people are going to look at me and go, you were not this color when you left.
That's fantastic. And you're like, I'm living my best life. Leave me
Doing
alone.
what I can. Yeah.
And you really are living your best life. This album is now streaming. I got to give it a listen. And it is so fun, especially for lovers of theater, just to hear the different renditions and the different kind of vibes you've given some of these songs. So why did you want to do this album now?
Well, you know, listen, I don't necessarily set out specific goals anymore. I'm just open to whatever and learning and just trying to be better than yesterday. And in that video, I had a big old Russian beard because I was doing chess in Washington at the Kennedy Center. And when Sony approached me and said, do you fancy doing another album? I said, yeah, but this time I want it to be my friends and what we've been touring, trying and testing songs on the road. All that is just for fun. It's for passion and just having a good time with my mates. And thankfully, we get an audience to come join us for that. And I feel like every concert's its own unique experience. I'm like, let's try and get that into the studio and just have a lot of fun and celebrate. You know, I've got this really blessed career that I'm grateful for, and I'm learning more and more every day, and I get to try new roles. So how do we get that into an album without specifically shoehorning in, like, we have to have a hit, we have to make this. We're just going to have a great album and just celebrate the relationships. So such a long-winded answer. This is what I gave Sony as well, and they're all for that and have supported that from day one. And that's why I think I'm so proud of this album, because of what they allowed us to do and what we were able to do.
And how did you select which songs would be on the album? What was that process like?
You know, I think like with most things, obviously this is all covers, so I made a list of things that I felt were going well on the road and that we enjoy playing live as well. And then also, I'm open for suggestions. You know, we have a great producer in Bob, and who's a great friend of ours too. And obviously, I wanted Sony's input. At the end of the day, the person with the gold and the golden rule is that with the gold makes the rules, and that's Sony. And I also, if I take on their suggestions, it'll allow me to learn and grow, and not just stick to what we know. You know. So based on all that, then we tried it in the studio. I would sing it, and I would email back like, I'm feeling good about that. Let's try that. And there was a couple on there. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And then it gave us time because we had some live gigs before that. So I was like, well, let's try it on the road and see how it feels.
So From Now On is from The Greatest Showman.
Yep.
So why was that the title that you wanted to make the album name, and why was it the first song that you were sort of like pushing out and releasing?
So I was in Japan at the time. I think I was doing a Vita when I first heard that. And I saw a YouTube clip of I think a workshop of The Greatest Showman, and the lyrics hit me. And I don't know what happened in that room, but like if you watch, especially for that workshop they did, and Kayla doing This Is Me, what happened in that room was so special. I remember having hairs on my, the hair were on the ends when I was listening to that. And what I loved about what I saw in the room at the time was the relationship with Hugh in the room, and the lyrics, and whatever they captured that day, it reminded me of what I do with my band. And for us, it's all about relationships. It's all about the connections, and the music comes out of that. And I felt that's what I saw, and that's at least what I experienced on the day. And I remember phoning up and texting friends going, we got to cover this song. This is a great song. The lyrics are hitting me where I was in my life at that point. I was on the road a lot, and I just wanted to go home and kind of recalibrate my life and what I want to do with my life, whether I want to stay as an actor or a singer. All this was going through my head, and I don't know, and it brought up those things. And I thought, if anything, let's at least get this recorded if this is our last one, or if it's my last thing, and just let it go from there.
Yeah, and I think too, it fits your voice so perfectly. The song is so dynamic, and I was saying when you walked out, I was like, when it builds and it hits, like how fun is it to dig into a song like that really has so many levels and kind of showcases all that your voice can do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But oddly, it didn't hit me as a great song to sing. It hit me as a great story to tell, and the energy of when that chorus kicks in, because it's all your friends, especially in our situation, all of us in the studio. And on the day, I had friends just coming to visit. I'm like, hey, do you want to come on the album? So we're all in this room, all singing together. What part are you going to take? What part are you going to take? And I'm like, anything but I'll just do the melody, anything. And so I guess if it has that dynamic range in it, they push me with involuntarily. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you get to that point where it kicks in. There's only one way to go, just to go up.
Do you have a favorite song in the album that you love to perform the most?
That changes as the tour goes on, and we've done a tour since this album. No, well, we've done a tour. The album was done, but we've toured it, and I love playing that, especially when we got all the boys and girls on stage for that. I love doing Mary Jane. That's a great song, and I've been a big fan of Alanis Morissette. And that album, that played a big part of my life too, especially in high school. You'll Be Back's a lot of fun.
I was gonna say You'll Be Back was maybe my favorite one on the album.
Oh, I'm glad
just
you
because
said
that
that.
song is so much fun, and I just love. I've seen it live on Broadway, but it's just nice to hear different renditions and different flavors, and just.
Well, that was I think a Bob or Sony suggestion, and I remember hearing it. And in my head, also how I choose the album, for the most part, because I don't know, one or two I might not do live. It was just great for the studio. But in my head, I'm like, okay, how would this go live? Because that's really what we enjoy doing. This is, I guess, like a platform for us to be able to go play live, and how we do it in the studio and how on stage sometimes differs depending on the setup. But I thought You'll Be Back would be great live, especially with the banjo, and it became even more enjoyable than I anticipated, especially when the audience starts singing along. I'm like, y'all know it? This is so good.
There's so many Hamilton fans out there. I would imagine that you get that response.
Yeah,
Performance.
and we're lucky to play worldwide, but when you have a chorus like that, it doesn't matter what language you are, you can do that chorus. It'll be great.
And I also love that you changed sort of the vibe of some of the songs. Like I Will Always Love You had now on this album, it's a little twangy. It's a little more country, maybe hearkening more back to the Dolly Parton rendition. Was that the intention?
Kind of. It was obviously, I thought the more we stay away from Whitney, the better, because there's only one Whitney. But I always try and think, no matter how we don't intentionally try and change things, we just play it and then see how it evolves. But I try and always say, let's try and maintain the drama, the story that was the reason it was written. And then we can just, dress it as we feel organically it happens. I Will Always Love You. I remember getting to the studio. I was like, oh, so we are going to do this one, are we? And I said, Bob, I don't know how we're going to do this. There's a lot of versions that we did on the day. And when we finally got to this one, I'm like, okay, let's just build it and try and make it as internal as possible. Give props to obviously one of the greatest songwriters ever, Dolly, and just let it go from there and try not to overthink it. I didn't even think I was going to go up on the third chorus like we did, and I thought, let me give it a go. And Bob was like, you got to keep it.
With that said, are there any songs that you were maybe afraid to touch? Because, in Broadway, you have some of the most dynamic songs ever in theater. So are there any songs that you were like, I'm going to leave
that was one that I thought,
okay.
That's a big statement. No, it wasn't even a statement. We loved it. I kept reminding myself, but we love this song. I love these lyrics. I love this story. So as long as we remember that, and there's nothing, we're not trying to prove anything. We just want to enjoy ourselves. So stop. I was my worst enemy, probably. Just get away from in front of myself, and let's just let the music come out. Is this the world we created? Queen and Freddie. Yeah, I think touching any of their music is quite a task. But with the way I think, without trying to be too political and whatnot, because we try and stay away from that. But when I, as a father, even I look at the world today and see my sons, and those lyrics mean more now than ever. Wicked Little Town. That was a tough one because it's just so simple, and I was like, just keep it simple, keep it simple.
That's amazing. What is uniquely challenging about doing a cover, and then what is the benefit of doing a cover?
Well, with the cover, the work's done for you in one way because you hear it, and I don't know. For me, when I hear something, if I have a visceral reaction to it or there's something emotional, well, let's try and capture that to give a reason why we're going to redo it. Because in my head, I'm like, all these songs, there's definitive versions out there. We're not trying to redefine it. We're just trying to give it props and celebrate how great they are. So there's the benefit that the resource is there and you get to live it right away. But there's also, you get a kick out of doing your own stuff. Like, when I look at the songs I've written, I haven't written in a while, but those are the ones I can never remember the words. Yeah, so I'm like, I wrote it, but I can't remember how this one goes.
Why haven't you written in a while?
I don't know. I'm happy. I guess, we're good. But it's that thing, I'll hear a song, I'm like, I wish I wrote that. They've already said what I want to say, so I'll just do theirs.
I feel that every day when I listen to Lizzo's album. I'm like, I should have written this.
Yeah.
But I have no talent.
I guess I got to get back to practicing, and you should just, I want to start writing again, and someone recently said to me, write for the trash. So write without any attention, you're going to throw it away. So I'm like, okay, let me start doing that. Because I've been on the road a lot, and I've been spreading myself, not thin, but just it's been a diverse time. So now with the TV show, and it's a constant, weekly episodes, trying to learn those words and the medical terms. I'm like, okay, I have to put writing off for a little bit.
Yeah, you're, what's the name of the show again?
Holby City.
Holby City, and how's that going? Because I've heard
great.
It's like the Grey's Anatomy of England.
Yeah, my wife's like, you're going to be McDreamy. And my guy friends are like, you're going to be Drake Ramore. It's great. I'm learning lots. I love, listen, the stage will always be the passion. I don't know, but TV, it's its own thing, and I'm learning a lot about it on camera, and just having a blast playing Kian Madani, this cardiothoracic surgeon, and it's great because I can't stand blood, and the prosthetics are so real. I remember walking in the first operation I did, I was like, oh, and then I start working on it, and I thought they'd bring in hand doubles, I'm like, no, you're doing the stitching, and I have a real surgeon there teaching me how to do everything, and I'm like, oh my God. And then they go, action, and the heart starts, I go, it pumps as well? Oh my God.
So now do you feel like if you're on a plane and somebody asks for a doctor that you can assess the situation?
I can totally do it. Yeah.
It's super easy. Who needs
Transplants, I'm the guy.
But I love that you're, at this point in your career, continuing to elevate and try new things because you've been in musical theater for so long. So what is it that still draws you to performing and really expressing yourself through different mediums?
You keep getting inspired. You see a film that inspires you, and you think, okay, I want to be better. I want to be better. How can I do that? I saw Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell and, my God, Timothy Chalamet. He's so young, and this is just the beginning. Seeing that performance, I thought, oh, okay, back to the drawing board. And if I still have a passion for it, top of the year, this first 6 months was kind of tough. I was injured with my 2 prolapse discs in my neck, and that sidelined me a lot physically. I was still doing the show. But I remember thinking, oh, maybe this is it for me. Maybe I don't want to do it anymore. But I think I allowed myself to go there as well. I didn't force myself out of it. I thought, just ride the wave and just see what happens. We all have ebb and flows in life. And what keeps me going now is I'm still hungry. And even like when I recently heard a couple of scenes from Phantom, and I was like, I got this itch. And I started humming it, and Mandy was like, why are you singing Phantom? I said, I don't know. But I was like, she's like, do you want to do it again? I said, nah, maybe. Right. Yeah. But I'm also, I'm hungry for whatever we don't know is around the corner. Yeah. And I think you just got to be prepared for that. And I like learning, so I like improving. So while I keep improving, then I'll keep going.
And I'm happy you brought up Phantom because I know you've been in Les Mis a couple different times. You've played different roles. So what is it about that musical that keeps bringing you back and makes you want to expand and try different things?
Well, with Phantom, I only did it once in London, and it's been almost 10 years. What's odd is people talk when they speak to me with Phantom, I get somewhat synonymous with it, which is great because what a thing to be connected to. And I'm a huge fan of the show, and I owe a lot of my career to what happened with that show. But I didn't go back to it. I haven't been back to it, so it'd be interesting. I'd like to give it a go now, knowing who I am in this world, who I am in life now. And it'd be a nice, I always say, that happened so early in my career, and so much has changed, and I've done so much since that time, and I've got great supporters. I saw, Twitter and Instagram that's gone up. There's a lot of fans who know me of that role but never saw me do it, so I'm like, well, this would be great for them as well, I think. It'd be be a big Phantom Party, you know? I would love to do it again. So that's probably my thought for that. Les Mis was great. There's so many great roles. And as you grow up, as you not get older, but, you know, more experience, roles then become a different definition for you. You relate to different stories. You know, when I was younger, it was Marius and Enjolras. And then there was points of Javert I liked. But then when I was asked to do Valjean, you know, I was like, no, I'm not doing Valjean. I want to do Javert. He's got 17 minutes, beautiful jacket. Every time he comes on stage, he's announced, you know, the police, it's Javert. Yeah, it's perfect. So Sir Cameron Mackintosh, the producer, he forcefully convinced me, and with all love, of course, to just give Valjean a go. And it literally was, I'm like, okay. I said, one handshake, just promise me if this goes wrong, you're not going to be mad at me. I'll give it a go, and I'll go do what I can. Best time of my life. So whether I'd go back to that, who knows? In my head, I got to keep thinking, whatever's going to improve me, that's what I'm open to.
With that said, is there a dream role in the theater that you have had your eye on for a while and that you would like to try?
I'd like to try them all that I haven't done, you know. Sweeney Todd, Guido from Nine would be great. Something that hasn't been written, you know, you're open to whatever. This TV show wasn't on the horizon, it happened like that. So I've learned now, anytime I try and make plans, life goes, nope, you're doing this. There's a show that's getting an out-of-town tryout. There's been a couple things that I was linked to that aren't happening now. And at the time you think, why? And you get a little heartbroken. I'm not afraid to admit, like, there's times if I don't get something, I've been teary about it. I'm like, oh, you know, you get so into it. But then a couple weeks, couple months, maybe even 6 months later, you're doing something, you're like, that's why it never happened.
And you never know where opportunities are going to come from. I saw recently that you were singing with Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
Who funny girl changed my life. Like, right? I love Barbra Streisand. I would imagine you have the same sort of love for her.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Wasn't sort of like the fanboy of Barbra because I grew up watching and listening to different things. So I remember I did this Fort Lauderdale concert with Sierra. We just did a quick thing with Seth Raditsky, which was so much fun. Little I know, Barbara's director was watching that show. Again, I'm not thinking anything of it. I meet him quickly. Lovely guy, Richard J. So fast forward a couple weeks, I'm taking Jaden, my son, boxing. We box together. And sorry, I keep hitting the mic. I get a quick phone call. We're in my truck, and it's Richard. Ramin, how you doing? Barbara wants to sing with you. And in my head, I'm like, because everything's going so quick, I don't have any Barbaras in my life that I'm on a first-name base with. So I said, Barbara who? He goes, Barbra Streisand. I was like, why? So I'm like, okay. And he goes, she's going to FaceTime you next week. I said, sure. I hung on the phone. My son looks at me. I'm like, let's just go to boxing. That was just too crazy to even think about. Right. So come the next Friday, me and Mandy, we're having a little domestic disagreement. I see a missed call. I'm like, oh, great. I've missed a call from Barbra Streisand because we were arguing. And I was like, how does one even call Barbara back? So I just hit the redial, and there she is with Richard, FaceTiming. And
you're like, hey, Babs.
I'm Miss Streisand. What am I supposed to say at this point? What's the conversation going to be? I was just like, looking forward to singing with you. She was very complimentary, very loving. She was amazing. And then our concert was on the Sunday, so Friday.
Yeah, we have a photo from it, too, of you two singing together.
Okay. There we are.
Gorgeous.
Music of the Night.
What song did you sing?
We duetted on Music of the Night.
Oh.
So I remember on the Friday, I go to a hotel to rehearse. This massive suite. There's Lionel Richie hanging out with us. Hey, Lionel. He's like, hey, I'm really nervous to sing with you. I'm like, what? And he was, but you know when both of them treat you as if they've known you for years. So there was nothing to be nervous about. And I couldn't be. I was just, you don't plan for something like this. So there we are hanging, having afternoon tea, little piano rehearsal with Barbra Streisand, Lionel Richie. Talking about their friends and how they wrote songs. She said, oh, when I wrote this, I was like, I got nothing to contribute, so I'm just going to listen.
But are those moments just super re-energizing?
100%,
like,
because what hit me was how much she still cared, and there was a vulnerability about her, and there's a lot riding on this concert, where in my head I think, Barbra Streisand, you can do whatever you want. This everything's set up for you. No, she's every, I and T cross. She's on it, and she's okay. Can we, she wasn't just going through the motion. Like, it was amazing to watch to someone that at that level still like working it and hustling. I was like, that's awesome.
I love her, that Brooklyn girl. She never stops hustling.
That's what, and
That's
I remember
what it is.
Richard say, she goes, I was like, how am I going to act around? Like, what, is there a protocol? Like, I've sung for the Queen of England, and there was protocol, and she turned out to be so cool. He's like, no, she's just the Brooklyn girl. Don't worry about it. And it was just a great hang.
Well, I'm glad that you had that amazing experience. I'm very jealous.
What scared me, because she goes, I was the only one who soloed of her guests, and she goes, at this point, I'm going to change. So you just talk to the audience till I'm ready. I'm like, what? There's 70,000 people. What do you mean? I'm going to just talk. Who just talked to 70,000 people? I was like, I have to wing it. So I remember thinking before that moment, so I sang Till I Hear You Sing. Then I had my time to talk to the 70,000 people who maybe 8 knew who I was, my family and friends. I came. I'm thinking, okay, I just said to myself, just try and make some sense. Because I'm not good at talking half the time. I trip over my words. I get nervous. Like, I'm nervous now.
Yeah, but no script is like...
No.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm going to start talking, and hopefully by the end, she's back. It was great.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on that. I know we have a couple of questions before we get out of here. So who do we have?
Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering what you do to get away from kind of your main career. I know you were talking about kickboxing with your son, just other activities or hobbies that you enjoy doing on the side with your limited time.
Yeah, well, funny enough, now that I've been home, we shoot Monday to Friday, so I actually get weekends, which is something I've never experienced. Yeah. You can plan a weekend. And I'm not afraid to admit, like, this year has been hard for me, I think mentally and whatnot. I've been very quiet. I've been introverted. I've been tired. I don't know. So I took up gardening. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I just wanted to dig in Mother Earth and just see what happens. And so that's been fun. I really enjoy being out in the garden and being in nature, so to speak. Fishing with my boy, Jaden, he loves it. Me and Hadley, he loves to go on a Harley, so we go for rides on my Harley. And I've been trying to read 25 pages a day, trying to read anything, but make sure I'm trying to stick to that. And that's helped a lot. And I've been writing in a journal, things I'm gratitude for, affirmations. And I know that works because lately I've been traveling, so the writing in the book has stopped over the last 2 weeks, and I know how I feel. I'm like, I'm a little unsettled, so I get back to that, and you feel good because it gives you a focus. It reminds you of things to be grateful for, and I think that's the most important thing, because it's easy to look for other things and desire other things, but you tend to forget what's in front of you and take care of what's in front of you, and I think that's the most important thing.
That's such good advice. I have had a gratitude journal for about 8 months.
And it's the little things.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
a game changer.
Every now and then, like, I'm grateful that I got a pillow to sleep on. Things like that we take for granted. But there's a lot of people who can't say that. And the fact that I can choose what I want to eat at any moment in time, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? At least I think so, because if you don't take that for granted, if you do take that for granted, you don't deserve the next thing, I think.
I literally 3 days a week write in my gratitude journal. My train was on time. And in New York, that's a thing to be grateful for.
All that's
it's real.
There's nothing wrong with that, I think just acknowledging all the little things, then the rest will take care of itself.
And one more question?
Hello.
Hello.
It was mentioned before you've played a lot of the most iconic roles in theater, and I was wondering, how do you kind of clear your mind of some of the past, really definitive sort of performances and really approach the character as if it's completely new for you in the world?
Well, I probably hadn't seen those performances, especially let's take Phantom, for example. I don't even think YouTube was around at that point. So I wasn't going down any rabbit holes. But at the end of the day, all that is not necessarily a bad thing either. They're just resources that you can use. But what Colm did with the part that's what he does. The reason when I saw the part and the images I got aren't necessarily his process, but I'm going to take what I took from it and live my truth and be brave with that. And it's not going to please everyone, but I think love or hate, indifference I don't want. So at least you give people something to think about, and if you're specific with your choices, and just follow your instincts and be brave with your and have courage of your convictions. It's fun when you do that too. You know, it makes the role fun because they're like, oh, I'm putting my stamp on it.
And I can tell you have fun with what you do. Listening to this album, like I said, it's all these songs that are familiar. They have a new twist. I can feel your energy, and obviously your voice is beautiful. So congrats on the album. I think fans are really going to love it.
Well, thank you very much. And again, a lot of the identity comes, it's not just for me, it's for my band and Bob, the producer, because we're all friends. We've been friends for, maybe pushing 10 years now. So everyone's energy and everyone's stamp is in that. And I think that's what I love about this album. I know it's my name on it, but we should have a band name, to be honest, because everyone's spirit is in that.
That's amazing. Well, if you guys want to check it out, From Now On is streaming now. Go listen to it and put your hands together for Ramin Karimloo.
Thank you very much.